identify the industry economic characteristics. So this is the first step of financial statement analysis. It is very important. This is also the step we do not investigate the target firm directly. We investigate the industry where the company is being operated. So it is important to know what's the background of a business, especially the competitions, what's economic conditions of the business. There are a lot of factors you should consider when you analyze these factors. I give you some guidance. Here are major macro environmental factors you should consider, and the political factors, economic conditions. The economic condition not only the whole world, the regional, country, local level. So if you study a firm which just operated in local, so usually you focus on the local economic condition. Probably the worldwide economic condition will not affect the local firm. But if you pick a firm like Apple, we know Apple is an international firm. It operates in the United States, China, India, Vietnam, and its products are being sold all over the world, right? So the economy of the whole world will surely affect this business. Sociocultural factors. So if the business is being operated in different countries, we should consider the local culture. Probably the culture will also affect the operation. Also, again, will affect the next one, the strategies company adopts. Technological factors, right? If you pick a firm, they're in the industry which are technology concentrated. Okay, so technology change will largely affect the industry. The next one is the environmental factors, because people right now care about the environment, the natural environment, more and more. So if the business has great negative influence on the local environment, probably it will have negative effect on the operation. So these are more details in this document. You can read it. Maybe not all of them apply to your business, but at least there are some factors you should consider. Okay. Next, why the industry economic characteristic is so important. Let me give you an example in my note. Here there are 4 different industries: grocery store chain, pharmaceutical company, electronic utility, commercial banks. They are totally different companies from different industries, 4 different industries. And for example, the grocery store chain, their products actually are commodity products. In other words, their product available anywhere. There's no difference from one store to the other. And the entry barrier is very low. So it's very easy to start such a business, right? From smaller size to large size, depends on how much capital you have. And also, this industry has extensive competition, so many players. So because of competition, so the grocery store usually have lower profit margin. And also, to achieve reasonable profitability, they actually have very high assets turnover ratio. Another example is the pharmaceutical companies. It is totally different from grocery store chain. the entry barrier is very high, either because the large initial capital requirements, and also this industry needs human resources, scientists, these intangible assets to start the business. And we know pharmaceutical companies, their outcome of research and development is uncertain. Okay, so it's highly risky. For example, maybe 1 out of 10 drugs could be successful and approved by the government to be sold. Okay, because this reason, there are not so many pharmaceutical companies as the grocery stores. So to protect or encourage pharmaceutical companies to survive or keep operating, the government usually give them patents and protect the patents so they can earn the high profit margin. Right? Because when they have patents, they have the exclusive right to sell the medicine and drugs. So this industry is different from the grocery stores. Also the electronic utilities, right? Capital intensive, monopoly position, relatively high profit margin, low asset turnover. The reason is this industry needs huge initial investments, and a lower financial risk because of regulatory protection and a monopoly position, higher leverage, or because they can borrow money from bank. Okay, why? Because they are protected by the government, so they have lower bankruptcy risk. So creditors prefer to lend money to these companies, and they have very stable income. Okay, commercial banks. Okay, large current assets and liabilities for short-term investments and deposits, and high leverage, high profit margin. So here is from the book. This is comparison among the 4 firms from 4 different industries. This actually is an example of common size analysis. Every single item are divided by revenue. See, all figures as a percentage of revenue. And we find the profit margin of grocery store is 3.5, the lowest. And pharmaceutical is 12.1, bank is 13. And comparing with grocery stores, these firms have larger assets comparing with the revenue. Right? So they have initial investments. Let's also explain why this industry, their assets turnover is lower. Let me switch to the PowerPoint. Here is a summary of these ratios. Again, we can see grocery store chain, the profit margin is low, but asset turnover is high. And we know ROA is a product of profit margin and asset turnover. Although the profit margin is low, higher asset turnover make up to achieve a reasonable return on assets. Okay, so in the world, different industries have different characteristics. Okay, no matter from their financial ratios, financial numbers, and also their different competitive dynamics and economics. So it is very comprehensive and very hard part to analyze, because we are accounting and finance majors. We do not have so much economics knowledge to understand the whole industry. But anyway, you just know what the factors. There are so many factors you should consider, and at least you know some major factors you should consider. So the next is we're going to introduce several tools to identify the industry economic characteristics. There are mainly three methodologies. The first one is Porter's 5 forces classification framework, which is the most popular one. Next is value chain analysis. Last one is economic attributes framework, which is very similar to the first one, Porter's 5 forces. In this class, I encourage you to use the Porter's 5 forces because it is easy to apply. Very straightforward. So let me introduce the Porter's 5 forces first. So 5 forces actually are 3 horizontal forces and 2 vertical forces. These forces are from existing firms, new entrants, substitutes, or from buyers or customers and suppliers, vendors. Because these parties and entities will have effect on the companies, they are actually compose the external environment of a company. Okay, they are in the same industry like existing firms, right? They are in the same industry, they are peer firms, so this will affect the overall competition in one industry. And the threat of new entrants determines the potential competition. A threat of substitutes, that's regarding the products, right? Whether your products have lots of substitutes. That's another horizontal factor you should consider. The other two are vertical, either from the buyer's customer, right? The outlet of your products. So whether the buyers have bargaining power, a strong bargaining power, so who can control the selling price, right? Who can decide or set the price? Suppliers, because whether suppliers have bargaining power will determine your costs. I also have the documents show you more details of the 5 forces model, and for each forces there's a list of the factors you may consider each of them. Okay, that's existing competitors. There are multiple factors. Probably, a material for your company. The next is new entrants. Okay, so on and so forth. So these documents are very useful. Please read them and keep in mind when you analyze the company's environmental factors, please consider at least a part of them. This document is available on my course. So in my note also in the book, this is an exhibit shows the analysis of 5 forces. Okay, you can define the forces is either low, moderate, or high. Okay, so you can. This is a part of work based on your own judgment. Okay, so you decide whether and what forces they're low or moderate or high. Okay, whether they are negative, have negative or positive effect on the company's operation, and these factors will finally explain the types of strategies the company applies. Okay. The next one is a value chain analysis. The value chain analysis is a sequence or chain of activities involved in the creation, manufacture, and distribution of its product and services. So value chain analysis is a value is accumulated through this chain. It's not easy right now for you to apply, so you just know it is fine. The next one is the economic attributes framework. Okay, again there are also 5 factors. One is demand. Okay, the demand. There are some other factors more detailed. The supply, manufacturing, marketing, investing, and financing. Okay, so these tools are very useful for you to analyze the company's external environmental factors. Actually, the PowerPoint explained the 3 methodologies. So that's part 1, step 1.